Happy day after Jason Garrett got fired day. I have a great guest on with me for this episode of Smalls Talks Ball, Julia Papworth. This has been a long time coming. We've been like going back and
Yes,
forth.
yes.
We've probably been going back and forth for like 4 months at this rate, what
It's
it
been
feels
it's
like.
been a very long time.
A
I feel like
very
maybe since
long
the
time.
season started.
Very long time. She is a writer at the FF Ballers. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find you, and then we will dive right into this.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter, you can find me on Instagram, Julia Papworth, just my name. And
Yeah.
that's where I am.
That's where I am. And
That's
great
where I am.
articles, some really awesome articles over there. Awesome gang and Jason, Mike, and Andy. I've been
They're
on shows with a
fantastic.
couple of them. Fantastic humans.
Yes.
Love their stuff. They're always on in the background at this rate. I think it's soothing to my dog because we constantly have their YouTube on. So that's where you can find Julia. Make sure you guys go and check her stuff out.
Check me out.
And we'll dive right in. Honestly,
Yes,
another
ma'am.
thing you should know is that Julia is a Arizona Cardinals fan, and I love to
Yes,
talk
ma'am.
about yes.
My
And
boys.
I love to talk about people's home teams, especially with analysts, because they really know the team very inside and out. So let's talk about this team. It's on fire. I
Oh
mean,
my God.
Cardinals. People could talk about, a little bit of a vanilla offense all they want. What are your feelings on this team so far as a fan?
It has been an amazing year. I've been a Cardinals fan my entire life, and it's funny. It's like, I think Andy said it like a few weeks back on the podcast, like as an Arizona sports fan, we've always been waiting for like the other shoe to drop. So we've been sort of trained like, oh yeah, the Cardinals are doing okay, but something's going to happen and we're going to lose. And it's like, I keep waiting to see it, and knock on wood, it hasn't happened yet. So it's been just really great to see like the maturity in Kyler, the maturity in Cliff in coaching, I think is a big thing that people aren't talking about. The defense is absolutely incredible. And it's just so weird. No one outside of Arizona is talking about the Cardinals. Like no one at all. And they're the freaking number one seed right now.
Except for me. And I've been talking about them.
Yes, you. I love it.
I've been talking about this team. I put in a lot of futures. There was two teams that I would say a majority of my future bets laid on. It was the Arizona Cardinals and the New England Patriots. I mean,
yes.
I'm talking, the odds were too good. I saw it in the making. Kyler and Hopkins, that pair, when they're healthy and they're together, I know Hopkins is onto it. He's not performing. It's not that he's not performing to it's just, it's a little slow of a start. It's fine. Everything's fine. But
he doesn't need to as much. They've rounded it out.
Right. And that's what they've always needed, right?
Yep.
They've always needed all these complementary pieces to put together. And they're there. And, I'm excited for them. Their schedule moving forward is, looks beautiful. It's fairly, it's like the 12th easiest schedule. Only 2 away games at Bears, at Cowboys. And then other than that, Rams, you got 3. So you have 3 away. But still, we got Bears, Rams, Lions, Colts, Cowboys, Seahawks. That's awesome. I mean, to you, what would even hold this team back from making it to the Super Bowl?
I mean, honestly, I think it's like the stuff that's out of their control, which it's such a mental thing, right? Like you look at the Bucks and you look at Tom Brady and you think like he knows how to play the mental game. Like Aaron Rodgers knows how to play the mental game. So it's like when the team is down, they have that capacity to move forward. And I think for the longest time, the Cardinals, even if we had the talent when we were in the situations, like Kyler, like last year, he was too young. I get it. But it's like he would get flustered and then wouldn't know what to do, or like, the defense would give up. And it's like the maturity in this year, it seems like we're understanding that. And as long as, I guess you can always say as long as people don't get injured or COVID or whatever. But I think, like you said, we're lucky with our schedule. We're lucky with where the bye week fell. I think it was so smart that they did not play Kyler.
I was just going to say this.
Oh my God. But last year they would have done it. Last year Kingsbury would have done it. And we would have screwed him up. And then we would have been like batting cleanup for the rest of the year.
And that was exactly what it is. And, as fantasy, and we'll start getting into fantasy because I'm sure everyone watching, that's what they want to hear. But besides for that, I was very impressed with their ability, not even their ability, just the decision to have them not rush back. Because I know in the past that would have happened, and it's very frustrating to fantasy owners. I get it. I have Murray, all over the place. Like you cannot
Yeah.
name a team. I probably have 3 teams that I know him. Murray, he was my QB1 going into the season.
Yeah.
You know, and even missing these last couple games, he's still sitting pretty at QB11. You know, this dude's averaging 23 plus points a game. He's fantastic, and I think people worry about they see the injury and get worried. But do you think when these two come back, I don't know what Hopkins' status is, but again, they have bye week, and again, that's the beauty of it. So they'll come back super healthy. Do you think when they come back, Murray and Hopkins will both be definite starts? Put them in your lineup.
I think so. I mean, they will have by that point had what, a month of rest, right? With all the weeks and then the bye week. Like,
yeah, because they got hurt week 8.
Yeah,
around a similar time. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, Hopkins, I don't feel like in my memory he's ever really missed a week. So the fact of him taking like 3 to 4 weeks off is incredible. And he was probably, you know, they were just like, we don't really need you to come back. Let's work on the plan B, which I think really good teams have to have. Like putting Colt McCoy in there and having him figure it out is important because you never know what happens in the playoffs, right? Like what if Kyler gets sick? What if something happens to him in the playoffs and then you haven't run through everything and you don't know what to do? Like,
and one of my biggest things I always say is actually one of the most valuable things in the NFL today is having a good backup quarterback.
Yes.
Backup quarterback.
1,000,000,000%.
People don't get it. You need to have a good backup quarterback, and as frustrating as it is, you know, for fantasy managers when Kyler gets held a couple weeks. Listen, the NFL they don't care about your fantasy league. They care about winning. And when you're in a position, you know, to take even if you guys took L's every week that he's been out, you still could maybe not every week, but you know what I mean? Like, still be able to recuperate and still be fine to move forward because you're doing so great. You're the only team that has 2 losses. I mean, no other team can say that. So I think that's what happens. Keep them out another week. Who cares? They get bye week, they come back refreshed. They have an easy schedule and they take off from there.
Exactly. And I mean, it sounds so cheesy to say like you learn from losing, but you literally learn from losing. Like that Packers game, I think taught that team so much to get beat by a good team who, like I was saying, like they had a plan B. They had none of their people and Aaron Rodgers kept his head together and he figured it out. And I think that helped them the following week. You know, and they kind of were like, okay, well, we need to figure out a way to win. That's what good teams do. They figure out a way.
Exactly. So, and another guy, I'm going to knock on wood before I say this.
Yes, do it, please.
One of my favorite people to talk about. I love him. My preseason RB12. Everyone doubted this man. He's someone that in the past was unable to stay healthy. Is James Conner. How impressive has James Conner been? Even, you know, from a fantasy standpoint, first of all, I mean, the guy's RB8 through through second 11 touchdowns, right? Play. Like people were so down on him. Edmonds this, Edmonds that. He's in my head has always been a very talented runner, a great pass catcher, someone that just needed he's a red zone guy. And he's finally filling his role. He kind of has less pressure over in Arizona. You know, it's very conducive to him staying healthy. How fantastic was this? You also keep Kyler a little bit more healthy too. You can take the rushing off
100%. Like I have probably half my leagues I drafted James Conner, and pretty much everyone was like, "You're gonna draft that guy? He's gonna be broken in like week 3." Like, and that's the thing. Like in my mind, I was like, "Look, he doesn't have to play every down. He doesn't have to be like the one guy who gets the ball, and he still had the speed. He still had the talent. And it's like you go to a team where you get to rest a little bit. I mean, that's fantastic, and you really get to see it. He is lovely. It's just a joy to watch him.
He is such a fan of him. It's awesome. Even Ertz. I mean, like they're making the move quietly. And maybe there hasn't been as many like in-season movements, but you look at like what the Rams are doing. Like Arizona to me is in a place where like they were rebuilding, and they were kind of rebuilding in a way that was like, okay, let's just be above average. But now they are headed towards a place where it's like we are committed to winning, and that's what we want to do. And you saw them do that with every movement they made with Watt, with everything he did. And I think that there's really not much that could hold this team back. I think with
I
Kyler
agree.
coming back healthy, but someone else on this team, one of my favorite rookie recruits, Mr. Rondell Moore.
God, I love him too.
I know, and
When I saw him back squat that 650 pounds, like
I
that man
know
is like, I
that
love
is
him
like,
so
oh
much.
my gosh.
He's amazing.
But what do we do with him, right?
I
So
don't
through the 11
know.
play, he's sitting at wide receiver 42, averaging nine
Yeah,
points per game. I kind of looked back, looked at, with Kyler, is it because Colton? What's the deal? It's really not. And I think it's
yeah,
maybe more game script. I don't know what to do with him. So in Dynasty, I'm definitely keeping him.
yes,
It's fine. I'm not getting rid of him yet. I'm not giving up on, I don't think you should give up on these guys. If you
no,
go out and you grab them, give them to my co-host on my other show, Dan Turner. He will say give them 3. Like you
yeah,
drafted them for a reason, so keep them on that bench, store them. If you have a taxi squad, whatever you have. But
yeah.
what do people do in these redraft leagues with Rondo Moore?
I mean, I think if you're in a deeper league or if you have a deeper bench, like you're keeping him, no questions asked, right? Because all you need is a couple people to go down, God forbid, and then he's in
Mhm.
there. It's harder when there are better options sometimes on the waiver wire because it's
Right.
like there's so many mouths to feed in Arizona, just like how, I look at Tampa or something like that. Like you're going to have one game where AJ Green might have a game, and then you're going to have a Christian Kirk game, and then you're going to have a Hopkins game. So it's like you are kind of rolling the dice with that sort of situation. I mean, I don't love dropping him, but
But
I had to do
yeah,
it. I had to do it because I
you
had to
have to.
win now. Like when
Mhm.
I dropped him, I was like, yeah, I could hold on to him, but if I need to manufacture wins at this moment, he's not doing me any good.
Right. And I think we're also at
Yeah,
this point in the season, which is something I even was thinking about today is, you're at a point where it's like, if you want to make like the play, you want to go to the,
yeah,
you need to start going high ceiling, high ceiling,
yep,
high ceiling, high ceiling. Like stop,
100%.
you can't risk it with going all this floor all day anymore. It's like, you kind of have to take the risk on guys like OBJ. Maybe it's
Yeah,
that game that he gets you 30. Like you
yeah,
don't know, and you're at a
because he
point
has
where it's
such
like,
a high ceiling. I agree.
exactly.
I
So,
agree.
but I think with Rondo Moore, it's kind of like, I think you guys can drop him, which I hate to
I
say.
know. I know. We say it with like the high
I know
stinky
it
voice.
hurts
Like,
because I
you
love him
can
so
drop
much.
it.
But again,
I know.
I
He's
think too, we saw this a lot with Tampa as they headed towards this playoff run.
yep,
They headed towards the Super Bowl. Is like they started wanting to keep people healthy. So
yep,
what does that mean? Does that mean Rondell gets more involved? Are they going to be spreading the ball out more? They did it with Gronk where
yeah,
he wasn't as involved towards the end of so there's a
yeah,
lot of question marks, especially with these good teams. They're like, we gotta. You saw it. They keep Kyler
yep,
out. They keep whoever
yep.
out because they want to keep him healthy because they're ready to make a run.
Yeah, and it's like
And
in that case, if you do have the space to stash him, maybe you'll get to use him
right,
in your final week. But
right.
it's a gamble.
Right, it totally is. And we'll move on from the Arizona Cardinals before
We could
Arizona
talk about
Cardinals
him
are
all
going out. I'm
day.
sorry, okay? So we'll do this quick. This is what everyone sees me say, Dad, on
Yeah,
on Twitter. Just
yeah.
a little too much, maybe, but Dad and Dud. This is
That's
something
what
I've
gets you
been doing.
banned.
I've been doing Dad and Dud the last couple episodes. So, who is your dad so far this season? Someone that's either like saving your butt, or maybe you kind of planted your foot on, and we're like, this guy's gonna be good, even though he was polarizing and people were not into.
Well, I always thought it was so crazy that early on people were not being like Tom Brady because
That's a good one.
I drafted Tom Brady in half of my leagues, and people are like, "This old man's not gonna do it." I'm like, he's gonna be top 3,
Yeah.
and he has saved me even on his bad games. His floor is just so
Yeah.
high. He saved me. James Conner, like we're saying.
Yeah. James
I
Conner
was
is
I
mine for
was always an Adam Thielen truther.
yes.
People kept saying that
Touchdown
touchdown is gonna go to
regression. Shut
yeah, and
up.
I was like, I can't, I don't want to believe it because I love him
Right.
so much. He's been fantastic. I didn't get as much Jalen Hurts as I really wanted to, just by where I sort of fell in my draft order. But he has been a joy to watch too. Like I wrote a big
Yeah.
article about him in preseason, and maybe not great for football, but great for fantasy. And he's
Right.
getting better at. But I mean, the Eagles are coming on strong,
Yeah, and we have
which is
honestly one of our questions from the mailbag is about that, so I will save it
yeah.
and ask
Okay.
if you're
Okay.
dud before we go into the Hurts thing because
Oh
the
God.
Eagles are a very interesting team to talk about.
Yes.
I have a lot of things I want to talk to you about. So who is your dud though?
I mean, I I put a lot of my belief in Zach Wilson, as a young
Mhm.
young boy going to the big city and being successful, and, like, I feel like I learned that rookie quarterbacks are hard. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, I feel like you look at the 5 that we had, and a lot of people were on the Trey Lance bandwagon. We thought we'd see him a lot earlier.
Mhm.
I don't really feel like I heard a lot of people talking up Mac Jones, and now it's like we look and that's our guy. That's what we're gonna come out of the season saying,
Right.
like, he was our best rookie quarterback.
Right.
And yeah, and I wanted Zach. I thought Zach Wilson looked so good in preseason, and I was like super behind the changing of the culture in New York, and I
And you
was
know
just
what
like,
stinks too, and this is the hardest part.
yeah,
And one of my guys that, well, two of that. So Rondo Moore would be one, but I'm not going to put duds on rookies because I don't think that's fair.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's a little early. So he was someone I really planted my foot. Another one that I planted, well, two actually, Mr. Jonnu Smith and
oh, that was
Zach
hard.
Moss. Shame on
Yeah,
me for thinking that the backfield I could figure out. You know, I've always loved Zach Moss as an athlete in college.
yeah.
Buffalo just they can't run the ball.
They
It's just
don't.
not a thing. It
They
doesn't
just don't
exist.
want
It's not
to.
real.
They don't know what to do. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They
So,
don't know what to do.
but it's so sad. Like I look at my roster every week. I look at my scores I got, and I scroll to the
Yeah,
bottom, and I look
and then
at
there
Zach
he
Moss.
is.
I started him last week, half a point. Come
Yeah,
on,
it's
like I
really
can't.
hard.
Yeah, and
It's
it
really hard.
stinks. And you get attached to these players too
Yeah,
as part of it, where
yeah,
it's like I
yeah.
love him. I have to start
Yes, you
him.
really love them. I mean, I
Right.
drafted a lot of Ryan Tannehill too, and
That
like whether
forget it.
I mean, what am I doing here? Like, and
I
that's the thing. It's
know.
like I'm like I can't drop you, Ryan Tannehill,
Right.
but
But
yeah.
three, how many? He had three picks. Come on,
Oh
dude.
my
Get it together.
god,
All
I
right,
got
we'll
real
move to
lucky in that league.
mailbag.
I
We
had
have
some
a
really big
couple
numbers.
mailbag
Yeah,
questions. So the first one is it's Stafford or Hurts rest of season. Where are you going with this?
frick, dude. I mean, that's close. I almost say Hurts.
Yeah,
I
of
feel
course. I
like
agree.
yeah, I believe in him. I think the Rams are complicated. Like McVay is so interesting, and like I've been to many Rams games. I live in Los Angeles, and it like he's throwing everything in the kitchen sink at this city to win a Super Bowl. And part of me is thinking it's too much. Like I don't know if it's going to become too much for Stafford. I don't know
Mhm.
that. Yeah, my gut says Hurts. I think
Right.
Philly's they're starting to figure it out, and he's just good. He can just
He's good.
run,
And
man. Like there's
listen,
something about a
he's
running quarterback.
QB1 through 11 weeks. He's like
Yeah,
he has had the most top 12 fantasy finishes so far this year.
yeah.
Some things that I didn't know when I was looking into it, being an NFC East fan, is the Eagles and the Giants have the two easiest schedules in our division. The Eagles actually have the easiest schedule, not only in the division, but in the entire league. And on top of
Wow.
that, shout out to Mike Clay, does these fantastic, charts that he makes about
Yeah.
these. But he also has the easiest QB schedule remaining for a fantasy quarterback. So
They
the
have a
dude is
great schedule
already
for their
at
defense too. Yeah.
it's
Great
crazy.
schedule.
So
Mhm.
they're in a good spot. The Eagles are sneaky right now.
Yeah.
They've been quietly winning.
Yep,
They
I agree.
don't have to get on a plane the rest of the season. Their schedule is a
Jesus.
joke. They literally have
That's
like
great.
Cowboys at home, Giants, Washington, and I forget who the rest of the team. But they really just play NFC East, and I think there's another
Yeah,
one thrown in there. So they're in a good spot. I really like the momentum that they have, and I think that that's going to also be
me too.
displayed in Hurts. And even when they're not doing good,
Yeah.
you're guaranteed to get points out of Hurts. So I'm all in on her,
Exactly. That's how I feel.
all
Yeah.
about it.
I enjoy watching them. I would like to see them give Dallas a run for their money at the top because I think Dallas is going up and down, and you
Yeah.
kind of don't know what Cowboys team you're going to get at
And
this
the
point.
best
And
part
it's
is that
yeah,
last game, maybe Dallas struggles a little bit.
yeah,
That last week, it's Dallas versus Eagles. So we might see the same
dude.
crap. This NFC East is
Yep,
a pain in my butt. It's the same shit every year.
over here.
So it'll be interesting.
It's
Staying on
got to
the
be hard for you in the NFC
I
East. It's
know.
got to be
Listen,
so
but you
hard.
know what's funny is it wasn't the first time because I read your stuff before and we
Yeah,
started interacting. Always a fan. And I read this article. It was you and Stepmom Moore, and you did this Daniel Jones. What was it? It was like hate or love or something. It was like pro con.
yeah. I
It
think
was
so.
like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
for or the against. And you were not a fan of Daniel Jones. Oh, I
I
get it.
mean,
I got it.
it's like
I was like,
if
my feelings were freaking
it,
hurt. But he's like QB 18 still, regardless of what was happening. So I'm okay
I
with it.
want
I had
to
my
love him. I want
that's
to. He
nice,
looked like,
man.
dude, when he was sitting on the sideline this week, I just looked at. I said to my fiance, I go, I feel like they should be playing like the Charlie Brown music in the
Yeah,
background because he was just like,
yeah.
hey guys, like,
Right.
and I wish. I wish people like him, and there's some other quarterbacks too, but you imagine what would have happened if he would have gone to not even like an amazing team, but just to a better team where he had a better line, just a little more protection.
Yeah.
The guy can throw.
Yeah.
Holy
And he's
shit, can
mobile.
that guy throw.
I would love him. There's a
Yes.
couple teams. I'd love him on the Browns. I'd love him on the Vikings, but they're just failing him. But the question that someone sent in was, would you resign Daniel Jones? It's not exactly, first of all, he's not on a contract year.
Yeah.
But the point is, no matter where we have a pick, I get everyone, the whole hoopla now that Jason Garrett is gone.
Yeah.
Like it means that we're taking, no, it means that they want to evaluate Daniel Jones. They're not going to move on from him, period. I told everyone this.
Yeah, he's your guy. He's your guy.
He's coming back. There's no rookie that is worth putting, investing in a brand new system. He at least knows the guys. You can evaluate him. And then at that point, if it's time, you move on from him, unless, they go call Deshaun Watson, which, again, I don't see happening. I know the Giants
I don't know what's going to happen there either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on. Tevin Coleman, Ty Johnson. Michael Carter is out 2 to 3 weeks. What are we doing here? I'm leaning Johnson.
Me too. I mean, I don't want to pick either one of them.
But higher ceiling.
Yeah, I don't want to have to pick either one of them. I really don't. But I'd say Ty Johnson as well. I think he's just a more explosive runner.
Right.
I think you'll just get a little bit more. I don't want to play either one of them. I just don't.
No.
I think there might be better options.
Going to be there. I imagine there regardless. And, it's hard because, Johnson's going to be the passing down back, period.
Right.
You're going to get that early down runner in Coleman. So, yes, there's a little bit more security there. But like we were saying, we're at this point in the season where, I'm going Johnson strictly off of that ceiling. Again, you don't really know what you're going to get, regardless from the Jets. So,
he could catch a little out route and run 40 yards and score versus
and Coleman's a little bit more touchdown dependent. Is he really going to see that work? We have Wilson coming back, and not sure how that's going to really play out. But I think I'm going to lean Johnson.
I agree. If you have to choose,
And then here's another one. This is last year was the year of the tight end plague. This is the year of the running back plague. I swear to God, it's been a disaster. So one team that's been plagued by this, we have Jeff Wilson. Someone asked, is he worth starting?
I mean, I drafted Raheem Mostert in a lot of my leagues and then lost him almost immediately, which was disastrous. And I held Jeff Wilson in a lot of my leagues for my IR spot, believing in him. He won me a championship last year because he was just on fire at the end. I'm starting him in a couple leagues. I mean, I have to. I think you look at the identity of that team and they're going to run. So same thing. It's they're going to, that's it. You have to. If it was more of a pass friendly team, I'd say no, but I like him. I think he has the talent.
If you're someone like us, because I did the same thing, it's something I tweeted out too the second you stash him. You stash him. But that means again, remember, be purposeful with your actions when you're doing stuff in football, fantasy football. So if you stashed him, why are you not going to play him? So I don't understand. Those are the movements that don't make sense to me. You're taking up an IR spot. So I'm all in because we know Shanahan. I tweeted during that last game that we had to watch. We get it, Shanahan. You love to run the ball. I get it, dude.
He loves it. I mean,
he loves it. He said it before the season. We're going to run the ball 500 million bajillion times, whatever the quote was. But Shanahan against the Jags, I'm all in on starting him. Of course.
Yeah, I think so too, because they'll get a lead and then they can just hand it off to him. Yeah.
And Mitchell's doubtful, but again, this is we're starting to approach that part of the season, especially when I used to cover injuries. We're approaching that part of the season where no one's going to practice. Everyone's going to be doubtful. People are going to start getting held out if they are in any point of contention towards a playoff run. So this is, you can't really rely on practice reports anymore. This is what we're looking towards. This is the crappy part of the season. So Mitchell, doubtful. I believe, the 49ers have started to pick up they're figuring it out a little bit. So I think that, if Mitchell's there, I'm sorry, Mitchell, but Wilson, you saved him for this exact reason.
Yeah, I agree.
They have a broken backfield because they abuse everyone.
100%. They have what do they play Minnesota this week, don't they?
Yes.
So I mean, this is a big game for them.
Mhm.
This is a potential playoff game. If they
Yeah,
win this, they're moving. I
it's
would
huge.
like my fiance is a San Francisco nut, so
Is
I
it?
would oh my god, yes. Him and his best friend went to the NFC Championship game.
That's awesome.
They drove up to Levi, and he was like, best thing I ever did. So
That's
I would love to see the Niners make the playoffs
Yeah,
just
for
for
sure.
him.
I've always been a Shanahan fan, like absolutely. I like the players that they
Yes.
have over there.
Yeah.
People got pretty down on Shanahan, but I'm still, I just like the way I like his football games. That's it.
I agree.
Period.
I
You know,
agree. I agree.
lately he started to bore me a little with the running bullshit, but like I do like Shanahan as a
Yeah.
coach. I think the 49ers, I really wish we got to see Lance more, but that's okay. And next question is actually
Yeah.
also about San Francisco, and then we'll wrap up here is,
Okay.
can I drop San Francisco defense start, whatever, given their upcoming schedule? So,
I think there's a fair amount of defenses you can drop. I think this is the time in the year, like you're saying, like you want to start holding certain
mhm,
things, right? Like I feel like you're wanting to start to hold some backup running backs to the big guys, and you want to start looking at the defenses that have the best, you know, end of the year schedule. And
yeah,
I don't think San Francisco's necessarily one of them. I think, and it's weird because like I picked up a couple this week that I was like, am I picking up Jacksonville defense? Am I doing this? And
yeah,
then you like look at their games and you're like, okay, yeah, this is
right.
actually a good bet. So it's like you might have to look at teams you're not used to looking
And
at least to get
I
you.
think streaming a defense is like the most
Yeah,
beautiful
yeah,
thing,
me too.
especially at this point in the season. Once bye weeks hit in my redraft, I'm usually just starting to stream at that point where
Yeah,
it's like, I'm not going to
yeah,
mess around. I might save one if I have a bench spot, fine, cool, it's
yeah,
great. But I'm going off matchups at that point. And I think with the 49ers, you look at their schedule, they've got Vikings, they're at Seattle, at Bengals, Falcons at
yeah,
Titans, Texans at Rams. Again, there's probably better options
yeah.
like
They're
some of those
okay.
weeks. I don't know
Yeah,
that they're not that big of a powerhouse that I'm
right. I
necessarily
agree.
excited to keep them. And
I
then
agree.
okay, I'll ask one more question, and then we'll wrap
Okay.
up. One more. Is
I
there
feel like
like
we could talk all
one
day.
I could talk forever, so I like have to shut myself up. Is there like one sleeper like for the rest of the season? Is there a guy that you think people should be targeting?
I mean, it's like at this point, do we have any more sleepers? Like
Right.
we're digging pretty deep with these people
I
going
know,
out on
and
injury.
everyone defines a sleeper a little bit different.
Yeah.
Like for me, like MVS, right? We just saw him have a
Yes.
great
Yeah.
game. I think he's worth the bench. I think he's worth being
Yeah.
on
I
the
think it's
bench.
worth a bench spot too.
Right. So that's someone for me. Like, but do you consider that a sleeper? Not
I
really.
don't. I mean,
But
and
he's
this.
probably not well rostered.
Yeah, he's if we're thinking of that sort of thing, like maybe under 50% rostered
Mhm.
or whatever. Yeah, I think MVS is an option. I think. I mean, God, what are they? They just released Adrian Peterson, right? The
Yeah.
Titans.
So
I
again,
mean.
monitor where he goes is a good one too.
Yeah. And also just the running back situation there because they're going to continue to run whether they're successful at it or not. Like if
Yeah.
you're looking at just somebody getting the touches and being out
Mhm.
there, it's like I said with Jeff Wilson, if you're looking at teams that run,
Mhm.
if that's, if you maybe have to get a third string running back, I'd rather get it from a team that runs than a team that throws, you know?
Exactly. 100%.
Yeah.
I fully
Yeah.
agree with that.
It's just those little things that
Right.
can try to
Right.
help
And you
you.
never know. Like honestly, like this week, I just Devontae Freeman. I saw what he did for the
Yeah.
Giants a couple weeks. And I kind of, sometimes you just know that that's gonna be the game script. It's probably gonna head that direction.
Yeah.
Devontae Freeman's been fantastic. Last week, 20 plus points. I mean,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
guy is known to do. He's kind of like. To me, he's the epitome of a great backup running back. Like he's the
Yeah.
perfect like. Let's kick you off for like 5 weeks, go
Yeah.
hard, and you get a ton of fantasy points out of him.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Colt McCoy, right? I have Kyler everywhere.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's the same sort of
Right.
thing as finding a good backup quarterback and a good backup running back. 100%.
Right.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Alvin Kamara situation is something too, like going on. Like how much is he gonna come back? Like if he comes
Right.
back, I mean, I think they said he's not gonna play this week. I think someone just tweeted that. But yeah, just people like that, you gotta be like, how much are they even gonna yeah.
I know. And it's all kind of like, at this point, it's just like shooting darts at this point. If you already
Yeah,
have him, you
yeah,
might already
yeah.
be screwed.
Yeah, and then you
This
just hope you don't play someone who has Jonathan Taylor and they score 5 touchdowns.
right, exactly. But this was so much
Absolutely.
fun. Tell everyone where they can find your stuff, where they can find you on Twitter, when you're
Yes.
next. I don't know what you're up to. This was also her first show, everyone, which is
This
so
is my
cool.
first
And I love
podcast,
having
and
females
so
on. It's a blast. Like,
yes, I
I
love
love
that.
that
That's one
shit.
of honestly, that's one of the best things about getting into fantasy in this community that I've seen and loved is like you, and there's so many more women and strong
Mhm.
women and vocal women, and that is the absolute best.
And
Yeah,
it
you can
ain't,
find
it
me on
ain't easy out
the
here being a
best.
female, okay?
I know, it's the best. You can find me on Twitter, you can find me on Instagram, just my name, Julia Papworth. I write for the Fantasy Footballers, those great guys, and I usually do an article that drops usually like Friday afternoons, I think. Friday
And they're
afternoons, Saturday
fantastic.
mornings.
Go check them out.
Yeah, go
And
check
before
them
we
out.
get off, Champions Round is always doing all these amazing giveaways. We have a Jalen Hurts signed helmet. That seven stakes
Love
is,
it.
on our app. Go, you can join. And also, round 3 is starting for our contest. So I think the signed helmet, signed jerseys, one of the two, Moreno, Pace, Mike Vick. I mean, there's tons
Oh
of really
boy.
cool stuff. We're always doing them. So go check those out at Champions Round. Also, on our app. And then you guys can find me at Steffi Smalls, 3 L's. And until next time, thank you so much for coming on. We're going to do it again soon.
Yes. All right. Yay.
Yeah.